Oh, all right, we're back. Finals time. We have
Welcome.
Pascal Grossman against Philippe Souza. No, sorry, against Lou Dumas. We haven't updated the. I can.
Yes, and let's see if Pascal is winning. He has a land. He has a Tamio and a zero. Yep, Pascal is winning. Very easy metric. Magic can be very, very easy. Tamio, press two of those things. There's one of the swords. Using one bubble, maybe potentially other one. And that depends. If you want to use the mana next turn, you can sacrifice the other bubble. But if you don't, you get the clue. You take the clue because you want to get the extra card from the Tamio. Otherwise, you wouldn't get the clue and draw it. And now you can use your mana to draw an extra card. Do you want to keep the artifact or do you want to preordain? Both have their ups and downs in using mana.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think Preordain would be great because then you flip the Tamio, which allows you to start to plus. But if you don't have a spell, I mean, it's gonna be a very long time until you can get some value from it.
No, you just
Sure.
sacrifice the clue and then you can use the Tamio. It's the question if you want to use the other mana.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you have the Preordain, that's also a thing you can get back, and you get a Rumble. The Rumble is of course great at this in this spot because you can like plus the Tamio this turn then, and next turn you can Rumble, return the Rumble again, and then you might already be on your way to combo turn.
Yes. Tamio flips,
Then
pluses to 4, play a land.
and the Mox, and the what is the card on the left? Is it a Boseiju?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So Boseiju also incredibly helpful if you want to play against a combo because again, Brute Scale is a combo deck that plays the Brute Scale Eldrazi, equip it with the sword that you see on the battlefield, and then make infinite tokens, manas, powers, you name it. Prismatic Vista, very important to get green or maybe a waste. Notably also playing a Saga on turn 1, ignoring the aspect of making a token. That's a brute scale. So both players start with their combos, one of them
Yes.
better than the other. Pascal now needs to decide, do you want to use Boseiju now? Or do you want your opponent to use the mana? There's not much of an upside. Question is,
Yeah.
how much mana do you have next turn?
The problem is you don't really have another option to like you don't really have a way to spend your mana otherwise because if you crack the clue you lose the Mox Opal from being active. So I think it's a good opportunity to do the Boseiju this turn, I feel. But yeah.
One of the downsides is if you do it next turn, you can't double rumble
Yes.
because you still have to have the ability. So now you're rumbling. If you find a breach, that's half of the combo. You need to find breach and the grinding station, lightning bolt, mox ember. Oh, that's a whiff basically.
But you can get the ball to kill the brute skill, which is useful.
No, you can only get permanent cards from the rumble.
Yeah, but the Tamio can get the bolt.
Ah, yes, of course. You ignore the part where you get the mana, but well, you get the part where you
Yes.
get to kill the brute scale.
Yes, and I think that's really important for him to happen at the moment. Um,
What are you gonna do? Is it lightning bolt time? It seems safe. There's not much that can happen to you if you just get rid of the brute scale now. Especially considering your opponent is going to fetch something with the saga. So that means there's a second sword on the battlefield, meaning the first one doesn't really help you if you get rid of it. But obviously, you're playing a finals for a card that is worth €1,000 on card market. and another 2.5k Swiss francs. So you kind of want to do it right, you know?
Yeah.
And I know. Ooh, look at that. Boseiju targeting the Saga, removing the ability to search for something. But now Saga actually turns into.
Is there something scary that you can get? I guess there's the graveyard hate piece, I think. Yeah, there's a vaccine bubble and there's soul guide lantern, and both of those are kind of scary for the breach deck. So it makes sense to kill it, and then you just bolt the root scale. But you still need eventually some gas, otherwise you're just not gonna win.
You do have two cards in form of a bubble and a clue token.
Yeah, of course, but still you just need to
Oh,
get
okay.
something at some point.
Passing priority. This is kind of weird. You're passing priority with a lightning bolt, giving your opponent a choice because your opponent knows you have a lightning bolt. So you're kind of just
Yeah, because
adding options.
yeah, also like if the brute skill attacks Tamio.
Yeah, like, do you want to sacrifice your spawn if you can lightning bolt it anyway? And now, if you lightning bolt it, they can still adapt it. Actually, if you equip it, I know the equipment. Yeah, if you equip it and play a land, you can't even kill it in response.
Yeah, also like what happens if he like plays a land, equip it, and then plays. I guess you can still kill it in response to the equipping. That works though.
But then, if there's a land, you can make a token for free. It's just an option. I'm not sure. Like, that kind of means Pascal doesn't want to kill it in combat, because if he kills it, it seems to be like a mistake. Then you're just giving an option where no options need to be. Okay, attack Tamio. Yeah. I don't like it, but it's also not big. And now, does your opponent want to make a token? They do? It looks like they're at least considering it. Funnily enough, you said it before. This is the exact same finals from the least last year's Swiss Invitational.
Yes, yes. It's the same. It's the same matchup. But blue still plays the same deck. But Pascal switched from. I mean, I guess he still plays the best deck of the format. Back in the time, it was Boros Energy. Now it's Breach. Pascal's just like known for always playing the best deck in the at least in the times.
Yes. It's a good strategy. Usually very favored for your tournament performance if you play the best deck there is.
Definitely.
All right. Brutscale enters the battlefield, enters the graveyard without doing anything. There's an Ancient Stirring, revealing 5 cards. Grove of the Burn Willows, Cozy Deck Command, Eldrazi Temple. Now that's a good card. Kind of awkward. You already played a land, so you can't play a land now that makes 2 mana.
Yeah.
All of the sequencing seems a bit off to me because if you're not using the brute scale, you didn't need to play the land.
Yeah.
So if you have actually an Eldrazi now, you could cast the 3 mana. That is quite punishing.
Yeah, agreed. It's a bit weird. But I think the lightning bolt that Pascal didn't play put him off. Like just
So you
confused
did
him.
gain an advantage from something you shouldn't have done. Ah,
Yeah.
Pascal. Very, very deep. Pascal definitely is a friend of the 5th level of thinking. Let's see. Kozilek Command. Okay. You can't cast that now. There's only 2 mana and you need 2 colorless mana. Maybe there's a second brute scale? Then a lot of this would make much more sense. And in fact, no. Oh, yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Can you repeat it?
Is he gonna play it? Like he's like putting it so close, putting it down, and then it leaves left hand. It's like pass the turn. It's like they always like how you do it. Like I'm gonna play this card. I'm gonna play this card, and then still not play it.
Yes, no. I mean, he's gonna play it. It looks like it. Yes, it is a second brute scale. Okay.
That's pretty good. That means Pascal needs yet another answer, or he's gonna just die. Wait, did
Well,
he? He didn't have a bobble trigger still, or did he?
He did have a bubble trigger. He just didn't do it.
He forgot.
Yes. Now is still the time. Now is not the time. He officially missed it.
Oh,
Ooh,
and
and
there
it would
was a
have been an
breach.
underbird breach. Pascal, no.
That would have been pretty decent. And I
That
think
would
now
have
you're
been
just.
quite good. He's gonna. Pascal, if you rewatch this, because I know you will. Hello. feel face palmed.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he missed it. I think he had like one card in hand.
No, I think he looked at the cards. I think.
Trace, okay. I mean, he can still draw from the clue, and if it's like a. No, you need to tap the Mox Opal, otherwise you don't have mana. Okay. Yeah, so you can crack the clue, and if he draws something good, then he can still work it out. But otherwise, you will just lose, I think. All right, is the impactful card. No.
And we do know that there is a Kozilek's command in hand. Just in case if you're wondering that, what does infinite mana do? It does everything. It does it all.
It does a lot of things.
Yes, including drawing the best card of your deck and gaining infinite spawns as well. I wonder if you can videos. Do you have a backlog of this? Yeah.
Yeah, you can rewatch it on Twitch afterwards.
Yes. So let's say if I would be interested if Pascal definitely missed his bubble trigger.
We can go watch it. But I think I think he must have missed it. I'm pretty sure he had the Scalding Tarn still in hand, and then he cracked the bobble, and then he just had one card after his draw step, so he must have missed it between this time.
So the bubble was cracked. Boseiju happened. His opponent. No, he used the bubble in his turn. And drew. Nope, everything went well.
Okay, so he did draw. Okay, so
He did draw.
So he did draw then the Scalding Tarn from the.
I would have not expected anything less.
Is that a Traverse the Ulven Waltz? Is that in his attack? Yeah, there's one Traverse the Ulven Waltz. It's crazy. Didn't expect him to play that card. But I mean, there's the Saga.
Wasn't really necessary as well, so. Because you do have a Kozilek's command. I guess it's a yeah. I guess yeah, it's quite smart because you add a token where there is none. So you even if your opponent has a lightning bolt in the response. Also, a fun part is, which is not very intuitive, I think, if it's the same one, but adapt doesn't work the way you think it does. Let me see if I brute scale, because adapt is an ability that you can activate multiple times before it resolves.
Yes.
So you can activate it, and your opponent responds, and you can activate it again. even though it seems like a one-off mechanic, which it is, because if it has a counter, you can activate it, but that doesn't prevent it from activating multiple times. So if you have 4 mana to play around the lightning bolt, you can also activate it, and then if your opponent has responded, activate it again, and you still get the token, and therefore still make it infinitely big.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that's why you need to be careful when they have many untapped lands, that you don't fall into this trap.
So that means he didn't even need to go through the traverse the overworld hoop to get a lightning ballista, even though it looked cooler. I admit it is a cooler line, but it stole at least 20 seconds of my life, which ups and downs. Karen says Pascal is making such a mistake. I don't believe he's a very precise player. That is true. Very precise. Although I can promise you, he has made that mistake. Everybody has.
Yeah.
1-0 Pascal. So is that actually then 1-0 Lou? Is that actually repeating history in the same way?
It's a good question.
So how many times have you lose to in a final to the same person for them to become your arch enemy?
Me personally?
No, just generally. Like, is that already qualifying twice in a row in a major big event?
I guess.
Or is
Like
the third time that
I think the
actually
third
needs it?
time is like then it's like very clear, I would say.
Do you have a person in the world that you consider your arch enemy that you just can't beat?
I mean, yeah, there's one guy who won like we have like an event that's called like the Swiss Magic Masters, which is like the biggest event in Switzerland. There's one guy called Andreas Sigrist who won it twice, and I really lost a lot in like top 8s against him. But this year I beat him, which felt good.
Ah,
Yeah, this
overcoming it. Okay.
this time I beat him in the top 8 of the Swiss Magic Masters. So he wasn't able to win it the third time in a row because of me. That's yeah, but he beat me a lot. I think I beat him once, and he beat me like 3 or 4 times in other cases. And now I did the second one this year. But yeah, so I would consider him a bit of my arch enemy, because there's not, like, at least locally in Switzerland. I mean, I mostly play locally. There's not that many people that have such a good win rate against me. I guess Pascal might be one of them. But he's just, I mean, Pascal is just like, yeah, he's been crushing the Swiss Unity League pretty well.
Yeah, he's a very good Magic player. That's true. And if you want to become a very good Magic player, you can look at the deck lists online. What a transition. So you can follow a link on the Unity League. You see the standings, you see the deck lists, you see the upcoming events, how many points you have to qualify for your nationals.
Yes, go
all of that in one handy website. Chad is asking if I was at Two Moons. Unfortunately, I was not. I was supposed to be there, but fate, in the form of people striking at the airport, prevented me from going actually to Switzerland. So,
yes,
it is as sad as it is.
Yes,
but I'm also in for people getting paid for what they earn. So, you
don't want to take away the prizes from the people that participate.
Oh, that's as well. Yes, undoubtedly, I would have easily won. Would have enjoyed meeting Pascal in the finals.
Playing for that Library of Alexandria and that sweet little trophy.
You know that I don't think I recall having tapped a Library of Alexandria to draw a card in my life. Like, it must be in some queue, but I never get to have the enjoyment of using a library for value.
Yeah, it's a pretty broken Magic.
Also, fun card, for the longest period of time, I didn't know that Library of Alexandria actually taps for mana. I know it happened, that my opponent did it, and I was like, are you sure that's what it says? Because also on the old border frame, it's not written as tap mana. It's like it's one of the lines of text in between the card. So it's
pretty random.
what do you mean you can just use it for mana? Aren't you just drawing a card? It's like, is that what it says? But it indeed has the hidden second mode of making the actual mana, which is funny to me. Here we go. Eldrazi. Notably, I was wrong for the first time. Pascal started with a Tamio and flipped it on turn 2 and didn't win. What a crazy start. And here we see another Tamio start, but no additional artifact. So according to my metric, he's always on the back foot. And yes, Lou started with one of my favorite cards. It's the Gemstone Caverns. That is so cool.
And now it's like the opposite. So the root scale player starts with 4 permanents with the first
Yay!
turn, and
And an Eldrazi Temple. So if that's not one of the cases where Lou just spent a lot of cards to do nothing, because like right now you have 2 1-mana artifacts that inherently don't do much until the situation arises where they do a lot. But right now, the Tamio is just creating value. The lands don't have a payoff if there's nothing, so maybe Pascal just runs away with having a Tamio and using the clues.
yeah, we'll see. But it still seems so slow.
Let's see.
Like Lou might even start comboing this turn, right? If he has like a ballista plus the brute scale, it might not be enough. But I guess the name would have like the perfect draw.
That is a saga. That's another piece of very potent interactions in a few turn. It's a rumble featured by the luck counter on the Gemstone Caverns. Must be nice to have a luck counter in the finals, being 1 game up.
It's like the most random name for a counter. All right, so that's another good card. Going to Lou's hand, Flesh Raker. Is that the what kind of? Yeah, it's an Eldrazi Templar, the land that has a
Yes,
glare.
the one
Okay.
that is left. Okay, and that's the Flash Raker.
Makes sense.
So that means the clock is officially started. Whenever you cast a colorless spell, you do get an 0/1 Eldrazi spawn token, and whenever something dies, you get to ping your opponent. Pretty powerful, but especially powerful in multiples. Effectively reducing all of your spells by 1 while also dealing damage. Pretty strong.
Yes. I mean, it's only a 2/2. That's the downside. But I guess it doesn't really need to attack anyway. It's like pretty strong, just from its effect. Yeah, it's really one of the cards I also overlooked. It's like some. I mean, you looked at the Modern Horizons 3 spoiler, and then you see this card. It's like an uncommon. You think like, oh yeah, that's the nice draft common or an uncommon, and then like people start to play it, and then an opponent has 2 of them against you, and you're like, oh, this card really does damage.
I feel like it's a different trajectory. It came out, and people were like, whoa, that's the most broken card with the Eldrazi Temples. And people played it a lot, but it only shined in like a very specific setup.
Yeah.
This one. So a lot of people were just jamming it in their Eldrazi decks, and it didn't do a lot, especially like in those
Yeah.
formats, the older formats where you can also add Eye of Ugin. It just wasn't as promising.
Yeah, but in Legacy, it was pretty good in the. What is the deck called? This artifact deck with the Mystic Forge and the. I think it's called Mystic Forge combo, yeah.
Pithing Needle naming the sword.
Yeah, now the
Making
game gets interesting.
the
But I
equipment.
guess the Flesh Raker and the Saga is still gonna run away with the game.
Yeah. Saga now creates a whooping 4/4.
Yes.
Next turn it will be a 5/5, maybe an additional token.
Yes, and then also you get the Graphic Escape to make it even harder to combo off.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, those tokens are a real threat.
Yes.
Because you have to deal with the Vexing Bubble, you have to deal with the Grafdigger's Cage, and while you're dealing with this, which is already quite annoying, the 5/5s and 6/6s are going to beat you down, so let's see what happens.
Yes.
And another piece of interaction, a Haywire Might making a spawn. Uy, 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 uy. Pascal, I have bad news.
He's gonna fall, or he's gonna meet the same fate again, like in the Swiss Unity League Invitational Championship this past November it was.
Yes. Oh, it's rightfully corrected that the flash striker actually does say enter the battlefield, not die, which is the same case, just much better because you get it up front.
Yes. So I think what he really needs to get back into this game is the Flame of Honor. That would really get things going, because then you can like kill the Flesh Raker and one of the artifacts. But yeah, I mean, the Saga is just gonna run away with this game.
You can even activate it now, thanks to the mode of making Eldrazi spawn from the Haywire Might.
Oh, but I think one thing that is also true, that I think Pascal has a dress down, so the dress down will kill both the tokens. That helps a bit with the situation. At least it buys you more time, but it's still not a solution to the whole board state. Pascal will need to find something at some point.
It is a quite fair solution, also drawing a card. So there is hope. We see a grinding station, and
Yes,
I think an Otavara.
I think the super is in the hand. Yes, so it's something he can bounce something. Yes.
Okay. So, assuming there is a Grafticus cage, Pascal still needs one more answer, but does have a lot of time. And here you see also Tamio is not in attacking mode again. She wants to block the Flash Raker. Making a token. Yes. Draw a step. And then trigger from the saga. What are you gonna do? And the answer is nothing more. Just making the token. But Saga is not going to do anything.
That's true. That's actually one good thing that Pascal is going for him. He can prevent the Grafticus cage from coming, which would be
How,
yet
how,
another problem.
how does Saga work actually? I'm not quite sure. When do you go into the graveyard?
It goes on the free graveyard when the last chapter resolves, basically, or like the last chapter is no longer in the stack in this case. So the
No,
trigger.
but like you counter the trigger of the saga.
Yeah.
But
So basically, the way it works, there's a what is it called? I actually don't know. Not sure what exactly the name is again, but basically, immediately in the beginning of your main phase, the saga gets a counter. That's like a
yes,
special
yes.
thing. It's not a special action. It's something
And then,
else.
as far as I know, you're looking. So if you have the thing that adds or removes the counter, you can tutor, but also keep the saga, right? Isn't that the combo with the conduit that you remove a counter?
Yes, if you remove a counter, you don't. Yeah, so basically, the saga goes on 3, then the trigger goes on a stack, and as soon as the trigger resolves and the saga has the same number of counter in the last chapter, it will be sacrificed. But if you remove the counter in response, then when the trigger resolves, it will still have less counters than the last chapter requires.
My question is, if you trigger the saga search, is there still a room to make a token? Or is it like when is it actually sacrificed?
Right, it's a state-based action as soon as the ability goes from the stack.
Which ability? Like
The last chapter, the last chapter ability, yes.
yeah, but that means when the card is on the stack, you could make a token because the saga is still in play.
Yes, you can still make a. He could have made a token in response, but he didn't
Okay,
want to.
okay. No, because what happened is he put the saga into the graveyard, assuming it will do what it does. I don't think he realized he had a window to make a token.
Or he didn't want to make a token. I don't know. It's hard to say. It could also be that he just doesn't want to make a token.
It's interesting because There's definitely some form of interactions. But okay.
Do we have a winner?
There's a grinding station. Trigger.
Ah,
Using
so
the
it's sacked
clue.
a clue, and now if we get like a nature slam.
Ooh. 2 underworld breaches.
Yeah, but I think if you have if he hits a nature slam, he wins because then he can play nature slam from the graveyard to kill the Vexing Wobble, and then it will be lethal.
But that was not one of those.
Yeah, so he will have to. What is he doing? What is the blue card in the graveyard? Is this? Oh, is this the counter again?
That's
It's
a
a bolt
consign.
and asterisk.
Serenade and a bolt. Okay. Not
Ah,
helping
it's a
much.
consign. Yeah, then I think there's no way to get there.
Okay.
Why did he shock first? This was not necessary because now you're just dead.
You can lightning bolt the flash raker. No, you only have one red. Ooh. You can play a Tamio to block.
I mean, I think it's an Emery. Yeah, I mean that's what he will do probably, but still, it's not.
There's
It's
a Tamio top right.
even if the breach, yes, he could do that. But I think he also just has an Emery in hand, so I think I would just play that and keep the breach for the following turn. But yeah, losing the 3 life from the sink was like too much. I think if you still have the 6 life, I think you can maybe survive another turn.
That's a breach. And that's the Tamio. All right.
Okay, but why does he play the breach then and not just the Emery from the hand?
Because Tamio stays and Emery would have died. Yeah, because you're dead on board to but not to the might. I don't
Yeah, I don't know.
now
Because
you just have to sacrifice the Tamio to the equip.
oh yeah, he can just equip the Haywire Mine.
Actually you're dead on board because you can just move around the sword. But it's
Yes.
anyway.
Yeah, you can equip the Flesh Raker, sack 1 spawn, then equip the Haywire Mine, sack the other 2 spawns, and you have 2 3/3s, and then you win.
Yes. Well, there it is. Lou does it again.
Yes.
Amazing.
6 streak for him.
Lou
Crazy.
Dumas, our modern European Union League champion.